All right, guys. The plans are changing this week. I had my plans changed ever since since the death of Akira Toriyama. I want to do a very special episode of the Hidden Gem, and yeah, talk about the great Dragon Ball.
You know their names. Now see the show that started it all. Earth's mightiest warriors. Only smaller. Dragon Ball.
Now, you're probably saying, Johnson, this is not a hidden gem. Everybody knows Dragon Ball. Well, there's some that do, there's some that don't. And plus, it's a very good adventure series. And again, it's one of those series that I think more people need to watch more so than Z and a little Super and a lot of GT. So I do want to give it its flowers here and there. And let's talk about the show that started it all. And I thought, because I was like thinking to myself, so what would be a best way for the good Hidden Gem episode? And I thought, well, the Hidden Gem saga, let's not do Dragon Ball. And I thought it would be a good way to honor Akira Toriyama, especially after his passing. So let's talk about this. So it's one of these series for me. I'm gonna give you my backstory, how I I watched it, and then we'll get into the series itself. So a lot of people will say they saw Z first, then Dragon Ball, which probably makes sense and then adds up because the popularity of Z was just all over the place. And if you were a kid in the 90s, Cartoon Network was your station. And eventually, when Toonami rolled through with the show, which was DBZ, known as Dragon Ball Z, they didn't have Dragon Ball till like the early 2000s. I think they gave it in the second run. And this time, they had the Funimation dub behind it. Because I think they did it before, but Funimation wasn't really dubbing it. And it didn't do too hot. I don't know who was doing the dubbing at the time. I was trying to find it online, but I don't think there's no. I've heard it was. I do remember they calling Goku Zero, and it just didn't last. Let's just say the dubbing they did in the early 2000s with Dragon Ball, it didn't do too hot, and just they kind of left it alone. And eventually, Ocean Dub got Z in the early kids morning, and then Z got popular on Toonami. And then as Toonami blew up, then they decided to get Dragon Ball. Because at one point, they had Dragon Balls, Dragon Ball Z, and GT at the same time on Cartoon Network. I remember it because when I was doing my research for this, there was a Toonami promo of the Dragon Ball Chronicles. What the fuck is this? And they had all three of them. I'm like, oh, shit, I do remember this. You know, I don't remember they airing it that day. I don't know if I was watching at the time, but I do remember seeing, now I do remember that promo. So, yeah. But back to Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is one of the weirdest properties out there. For me, it's hard to go from Z to Dragon Ball. It really is. It's one thing to go from Dragon Ball Z to Super. It's like, okay, you can kind of see the level going up, but then sometimes you can break it back down to Z level because Z level was not bad. But it's hard to go from Z to Dragon Ball, and it was tough. I didn't really like it at first until I watched it thoroughly, and then when I got older, I rewatched it and I appreciate it more, especially now. The journey into the West story is pretty much what Dragon Ball is, but Dragon Ball doesn't really get into the history of Goku more so than Z does. Z does, but not so much Dragon Ball. All we know is Goku got a tail, and every time there's a full moon, he transforms into a great giant ape. That is it. That is all. I don't think even Akira Toriyama had his history mapped out yet. Because I even think Akira Toriyama even wrote that he didn't have nothing mapped out till like he just went with until Dragon Ball Z kind of came in and he got more to adult, I guess, and he was just going off the rails with it. But this is where Goku meets Bulma first, then Yamcha comes through, then eventually he meets of course he meets Prar and Ulan, and then he meets Krillin down the road. He learns he meets Master Roshi, And then eventually he meets Tien in the tournament, because Tien was under, I think, Tao's brother, the Crane School. I'm trying to get the wording right because I'm going by memory too, and I didn't really write that far ahead because I thought I could remember it because I told you I've done watched this shit like a couple times, so I know my Dragon Ball history. But I think that's in the right order. I could be wrong. Somebody down there could correct me down there, which is totally fine. But yeah, he gets to take on, but mostly Goku takes on the Red Ribbon Army. That's how the whole Android saga started with Dr. Gero. And actually they do play upon, there's the androids in here, and they do play upon that, which is pretty cool. He takes on King Piccolo, which is probably arguably one of the best arcs in Dragon Ball. That's when Goku starts learning. That's when we start getting a little element of Z when he takes on King Piccolo. You see it a lot when he takes on Tien Shinhan, but you see a lot more when he takes on King Piccolo. And then there's another tournament, the last tournament, when he takes on Piccolo Jr., which is eventually Piccolo. And that's when you see the Z elements. That's when Z beguns. And that's when the shit started to happen. So, like I said, the voice acting was done properly with Funimation. They always do a good job. I think out of all the dubs they've done, the Dragon Ball, they really take care of it. They've always been on point of it. And I will never, when it comes to Funimation, I'll never doubt them when it comes to Dragon Ball dubs. They always do a good job with them. But yeah, it's weird. Just even talking about it right now. And it's because it's one of those things where I have more fondness appreciation for Dragon Ball than I did when I was a kid. Because again, I was all into the action. Eventually, I'm into the storytelling now and the adventure aspects. And it's pretty good. I still got Funimation for about a month before they closed down the app. And I'm not paying for shit. I don't know what happened. I'll tell you the story. And then I'll wrap this video up for the hidden gems. Like I said, this is kind of like a honoring Akira Toriyama Dragon Ball. So you probably say, well, you're not supporting him. Well, no, hear me out. So I got Funimation 2 years ago, and I got the app, God knows, 2 years ago. But so at the time, my debit card, I paid for Funimation app, but my debit card, they kept charging my debit card, but they never deleted my subscription. So I thought it was over. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not watching nothing no more. No, honestly, no, they still kept it on there, and I'm still watching it. And I thought, well, maybe it's free. No, Funimation app's not free. They've never been free. So, I mean, I got the app for free, so for the next month or two, and yeah, I wish I knew that shit, but yeah, so I got it for free for a little bit. I'm going to watch Dragon Ball on there because it's still on there. I think. Hold on a minute. Yeah, still on it. So, but, that's all I got to say on it. But as always, guys, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a Johnson day. I'll see you guys in the next video.